So we all know the big ticket items that the California Bar tests on the essay portion. But what about the miscellaneous topics that a lot of applicants tend to forget? Now, I know the bar exam is in a couple days, and I'm not wanting anyone to start cramming these miscellaneous topics. But I thought it would be a good idea, and of course my applicants already have this, for those that are not in my courses, to make sure that they know these minor areas that sometimes come up that could even be a full essay sometimes. So this video is going to be a little bit longer than usual, but I'm going to go through a little miscellaneous list. It is not a full encompassing list. So there are other areas, of course, that come up, but these are the topics that tend to be the ones on the essay portion of the California Bar that applicants do not review and are not prepared for. So I'll go a little quick, but take notes and feel free to ask any questions in the comments below, or you can, of course, DM me. In criminal law, the insanity defenses, if they ask a general question on insanity, they tested this February 2007, then you want to go through all 4 of the insanity defenses. It is a jurisdictional issue, so they'll have to tell you, if it's specific, what the jurisdiction holds and wants to apply. If they don't, and it's general, all 4 types. Make sure for self-defense, you also know imperfect self-defense, the imperfect self-defense rule. Last, in criminal law, kidnapping. Kidnapping comes up a lot, but attempted kidnapping, they almost had an entire essay once on this. It's attempt as the crime, not kidnapping. For criminal procedure, there's several. Right to a speedy trial, jury instructions, right to the effective assistance of counsel, guilty pleas, right to self-representation, and competency to stand trial. Torts. So if you're ever in a general torts question, like defamation or the privacy torts, you always want to consider intentional infliction of emotional distress and negligent infliction of emotional distress. For the intentional torts, encroachment could incite the need for injunctive relief. Now, injunctive relief was tested in February on the retake, so we're probably not going to get a lot of injunction remedies tested. But just in case, there are other torts that could incite the need for injunctive relief, like trespass and nuisance and intentional interference with prospective business advantage. So always be on the lookout for those crossovers. Strict liability torts, you're looking for animals, right? Like a dog bite or an attack and abnormally dangerous activity. Make sure you know the elements of both of those. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a long list for other miscellaneous torts. Misrepresentation, if it's a general question, go into both intentional and negligent. Of course, if they're only asking for one, go into the one that applies. Malicious prosecution and abuse of process. Again, interference with business relationships. They have not tested that on the essays in a very long time. Nuisance likes to pop up, like I said before, not only in the gamut of needing an injunction, but if it's a general nuisance question, go into both a private and a public nuisance issue or cause of action. And don't forget the defense of coming to the nuisance. Joint and several liability as a standing requisite, and contribution and indemnity. You should know those concepts or issues. In contracts, quasi-contract. So if the contract fails, if formation fails, you're looking at a remedy of quasi-contractual remedy. Anticipatory repudiation is when a party gives an unequivocal statement that they're not going to perform some part of the agreement. So that is almost always tested in most contracts essays. It will take the place of a major breach. So make sure that you know the anticipatory repudiation, how to spot it, give the remedies to the non-breaching party. UCC sub-issues. February 2016 was a really great UCC essay. We had a UCC essay tested recently, so I see them going more with like common law. But just in case, the UCC warranties, of course, we know about like a merchant's firm offer, the perfect tender rule, rejection of cure, lost volume seller. But there are 3 warranties that take the place of breach for a UCC breach of contract. Make sure that you know those. Real property. And by the way, if this is stressing you out, turn me off, okay? Because I'm just trying to help out, but don't let me stress you out right now. Takings clause. February 2010 had the most pure takings clause essay out there. Study that model. It is a very well-written model. It is very thorough. You don't have to write that many issues or that thoroughness of rule statements, but it is a great takings clause essay, and we're due for a takings clause essay for sure. Make sure you know the vested rights doctrine there. Adverse possession, make sure you IRAC out all the elements and consider ouster. In evidence, don't forget double hearsay. That's your double layer of hearsay. Each layer needs to fit under an exception for the entirety of the evidence to come in. So IRAC out each part, and you only need one exception per part. In constitutional law, procedural due process, which was tested recently, really highly missed procedural mechanism in con law. 3-part test, IRAC out each part. If you have a dormant commerce clause fact pattern, then you're looking at a potential crossover in a general DCC of equal protection and the privileges and immunities clause. Don't forget your standing there, like your preemption, again, to start, and anything like standing or state action or government conduct, or mootness, so on and so forth. Civil procedure, they're all tested equally, all of the different procedures. I could see California coming up. We're highly due for Civ Pro. They love it in July. Make sure you know discovery. For sure, they can test full essays on just discovery, but we are due more for like a jurisdictional type question or maybe preclusion or joinder. Good luck, everyone. I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you have any questions.